Welcome to Brain Alpha. Let's just dive right in. Okay, I want you to get real for a second. Think about those big goals you set for yourself at the start of the year. How's it going? And I'm not asking if you've hit them yet. I'm asking, have you made real, solid, consistent progress?
Or are those goals kind of sitting on a shelf, collecting dust? It is so easy to let another year just slip by. And you look back and you wonder, where did all that time go? But here's the thing. While most people are kind of lost in distraction, there's a small group of people who are quietly and relentlessly building something incredible.
It's like you're standing at a fork in the road, right? On one side, you've got the path most people take. The endless scrolling, the distractions, and it always leads to stagnation. But on the other side, that's the path of purposeful building, of deliberate growth. And that path, well, it creates this unstoppable momentum. The space between these two paths gets wider every single day. So, how do we jump over to the path of the few?
Well, that's what we're going to break down. Our guide for this is the entrepreneur Alex Hormozi. The man is a legend who literally went from nothing to building a multi-billion-dollar empire. He created this system for making insane progress in just 90 days. He calls it hard mode.
Now, look, this isn't just about, grinding harder with no plan. No way. Hard mode is about putting 3 very specific, life-changing rules into practice. Rules that basically rebuild your entire life around one massive goal. So let's get into exactly what they are.
All right, rule number 1. This is the bedrock for the whole thing. You have to become a true perfectionist. And what I love about this is how Hormozi totally flips the meaning of that word on its head.
You see, most of us use perfectionism as a shield, right? It's an excuse. We get stuck planning and researching forever, waiting for the perfect time that, let's be honest, never actually shows up. But true perfectionism, it's the polar opposite. It's all about executing relentlessly and getting better with every single try. It's holding yourself to a sky-high standard through action, not just thinking about action.
So what does that really look like? Hormozi tells the story about a huge presentation he had to give. He didn't just practice it a few times. He practiced it 100 times. And he said the first 5 times got him to be competent, good. But the next 95 reps, that's what turned it from good into a masterpiece. That's the work nobody else is willing to do.
There's this classic parable that just nails this idea perfectly. It's about a pottery class. A teacher splits the class in 2. She tells the first group, you'll be graded on the quality of one single perfect pot. She tells the second group, you'll be graded on the sheer quantity of pots you make. So what happened? At the end of it all, the absolute best, most beautiful pots came from the quantity group. Why? Because they weren't paralyzed by perfection. They were just doing, learning, and getting better with every single pot they made. Volume is what drives quality.
Okay, so being a true perfectionist obviously takes a ton of time and focus. The big question is, where in the world do you find all that time? Well, that brings us to rule number 2. And this one might be the hardest of all. You have to embrace loneliness. And we're talking about a dedicated sprint here. Hormozi suggests a focused period of about 3 months, just 90 days where you intentionally clear out all the noise so you can create something amazing.
And let's be super clear about this. We're not talking about feeling sad and isolated. Not at all. Hormozi reframes loneliness as a positive signal. He calls it a sieve. As you start moving faster towards your goal, it filters out all the people and things that just can't keep up. It's proof that you're on a challenging path, one that most people just aren't willing to walk.
I mean, if we're being brutally honest with ourselves, the biggest time suck in our lives is often other people, our friends, our family, even our partners. To create those big, beautiful, uninterrupted blocks of time that you need for rule number 1, you have to be willing to temporarily hit pause on some of that social time. It's a huge sacrifice for sure, but it's a temporary one for a permanent life upgrade.
And that brings us to the final piece of the puzzle, which ties it all together. So you've created all this time. Now what do you do with it? Rule 3 is to completely break your current routines and build a new life from scratch, all centered around that one single objective.
You know that whole concept of a balanced life? For these 90 days, just throw it out the window. It's actually your enemy. The goal here is to become radically unbalanced. You're not trying to cram this new huge goal into your old life. No, you're building a brand new life around the goal. It's all about a relentless, single-minded focus.
So how do you actually pull this off? It's pretty simple, in theory. First, just imagine your entire 24-hour day is a blank whiteboard. Just wipe it clean. Then you start rebuilding it from zero, and you only add back two things: the absolute essentials and the actions that directly push your goal forward. That's it.
But listen, there is a huge, huge trap here that you have to avoid. Do not make the routine itself the goal. Your mission isn't to perfect your schedule or your morning meditation. Your mission is to maximize your outcome. The process is just a tool to get you the result. The result is the only thing that matters.
Okay, let's not kid ourselves. Sticking to these 3 rules is gonna be tough. I mean, it's called hard mode for a reason, right? So how do you actually survive it for 90 days? Well, it all comes down to having the right mindset, a mindset that's built to win. The first thing you have to wrap your head around is something called the startup paradox. And it's simple. At the very beginning of anything new, you are going to put in the most effort you've ever put into anything for the absolute smallest reward. It feels totally unfair, but just knowing that's coming, expecting it, prepares you for that initial grind.
So how do you protect your motivation during that brutal early phase? Here's your survival kit. First, you need an absolutely crystal clear why. Your vision has to pull you forward. Second, chase the quickest, tiniest wins you can, anything to build a little momentum. And third, set stupidly small goals. Don't aim for 1,000, just aim to get from 0 to 1, then 1 to 10. And you celebrate that first step like crazy.
And this brings us to what might be the single most powerful mindset shift in this whole framework. Start seeing your life as a story that you are writing, right now. The struggle, the loneliness, the hard work, that isn't a sign of failure, no way. That's chapter 1. That's the part of every great hero's journey that makes the victory at the end so sweet.
So from this moment forward, every time you're faced with a choice, the easy way out or the hard path, just ask yourself one simple question: which one of these makes for a better story? Nobody wants to read about the hero who had it easy.
So, there it is. That's your 90-day mission. Rule 1, become a true perfectionist through massive action and volume. Rule 2, embrace loneliness to create the time and focus you need. And Rule 3, break your old routines and become radically unbalanced in favor of your one primary goal.
Look, this isn't just some cool idea to think about. This is a challenge. Your 90-day story starts the second you decide it does. So the only question left to ask is, what are you going to write on the first page of chapter 1? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up, and help us build the hype. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.